everyone, it's Maddie. Welcome back to my channel, and I am doing 3 videos this week to make up for the video that did not go up on Sunday because of YouTube being stubborn and some very stressful school things going on. I couldn't get my video up in time, so hopefully that these videos will go up much quicker. And YouTube won't give me any issues, and now that I can kind of breathe, we are through midterms now, which is unbelievable to me. I am halfway through my first semester of Dental Hygiene School, and today's video I'm going to sit and talk about like how I'm dealing with diabetes in college specifically, and what has worked specifically for my program, being that it is a very science-based program, and being that it is a very lab-based program, which can throw a lot of different things into the mix as far as diabetes-wise, from evaluations to managing things when you really shouldn't be having access to food and water, and kind of how I go about that and stuff like that. So with that being said, I'll get right into kind of my list I have here. So my first thing I'm going to tell you is low carb foods will be your best friend, and I mean consistently eating low carb. I typically eat a low carb breakfast the days I have clinic, and I eat a low carb lunch pretty much every single day, and then I pig out when I get home. And here's the reason why. Because I can't predict my next move in college. I don't know if I'm going to be walking around campus for a little bit, or if I'm going to sit and chill in the library with my friends, or if I'm going to go in the commons with my friends, or I'm just going to be by myself. Seeing as though I can't predict my next move, I don't take more than like 20 or 30 grams of carbohydrate at my lunch. Because with insulin, you don't know if you're going to take your whole big bolus of 6 units for a big old meal, and then you go walk around campus, you're going to end up low. Opposite problems too also can happen. If you need to pre-bolus for that particular meal, your blood sugar is going to go skyrocketing, and then you're probably not going to feel good, and it's going to affect a lot of different things. So I definitely stick with the low carb things, and I love to stick with the low carb things before I go into an exam or a test, because then the only thing I have to deal with is stress and adrenaline. And I made that mistake today prior to a skill evaluation. I had food prior to it, and my blood sugar already was like 150, and it shot way up to like 240 just from adrenaline, which I'll talk about that at the end of this video. But anyways, eat a lot of light things. I mean, I eat tons of protein-based things, a lot of low-carb, non-starchy vegetables, sugar-free jellos. I mean, if you really dig into it, nuts are a great example. Crackers are okay for me because you can kind of count things out. Things that for me, aren't as high glycemic is excellent. Like I said, just kind of finding that balance and finding what certain carb foods work best for you really has helped me. Like crackers don't bother me as much as like a big old piece of white bread versus, if I'm going to have chocolate, I'm more bound to have like the really rich 95% dark chocolate versus a big old Hershey's bar, which is loaded with sugar, loaded with carbohydrate, and stuff like that. So eating low carb, eating extremely low carb has helped me a lot. I have not completely eliminated carbs. I don't believe it is safe to completely eliminate carbs from your body. There's nothing wrong with eating keto-based things, but your body does need carbohydrate to survive. So completely eliminating carbohydrate is not the solution. It actually causes more problems, and I think it's very hard on your heart when you don't have carbohydrate to eat. So I do eat carbohydrate, I just eat a lot less of it, if that makes sense. It helps to combat stress, and it helps to combat the unpredictability of what you may do at college. Not saying that my schedule isn't predictable. What's not predictable is what happens in between my classes, if that makes sense. Number 2 is dawn phenomenon, and this definitely kicks in more for me because I have to get up early pretty much every single day. And my radiography lab on Thursday is bright and early at 7:30 in the morning, and I'm up at 5:45 or 6 o'clock. Some of my classmates may have to get up earlier or later depending on how close they live, but for me, 5:45 to 6 o'clock is when I have to get up. And that's even pushing it. I probably really should be getting up closer to 5:30 in the morning. But I do notice because I get up earlier than typically that you weren't in school, you're going to have more of that dawn phenomenon effect kick in for you for breakfast. So that's why I try to stick to the low carb breakfast, and I definitely pre-bolus 20 to 30 minutes before I eat something, even something that's only 10 grams of carbs. Otherwise, my blood sugar goes skyrocketing, and it just sits there, and I have a hard time getting it down. It's feet to floor, and it's also dawn phenomenon. As soon as you get up out of bed, your body has this surge of hormones as you're waking up to try to get your blood sugars up and ready for the day. And unfortunately, as type 1 diabetics, when that surge of sugar comes in, we can't really balance for that, even with increased basal rates, stuff like that. But I have increased basal rates to help with this. Like I said, low carb breakfasts really help. I don't ever skip breakfast, just because I don't want to like have some sort of weird ass medical emergency happen because I didn't eat or something like that. But I definitely stick with breakfast at a fairly low carb, probably no more than 30 grams at the most. I mean, I've literally cut back a lot on my carbohydrate. So I'm not really sure if I've lost weight or stayed the same, but this is helping me keep my blood sugars as normal as possible, and I'm going to do what I need to do to keep my blood sugars as normal as possible without starving myself of food. So this is what I found, what works for me, and may not necessarily what works for you, but you need to kind of figure out what kind of balance you need to play with that. Number 3 is pre-bolusing, which is a huge thing, but even more so when you're in college. Like I said, it's a pain in the rear to pre-bolus, even with a 2-hour lunch break, because, like I said, you don't know the predictability of where you're going to be moving around campus. You're going to walk around campus, go upstairs, go to different areas of the campus, stuff like that. But I definitely pre-bolus at my breakfast, pre-bolus at my dinners, and at lunch, if I do pack a little heavier carbs, something or another, I'll pair it with something that's really on the low carb side, or I'll start eating the lower carb option first and allow time for that insulin to kick in so that I can eat my whatever, my cookies, my crackers, so my blood sugar won't go skyrocketing. Or if I know I'm going to be walking around campus, I may bolus for it and eat it right away, let the blood sugar go up to 170, 180, and it'll come right back down on its own just because of all the activity and stuff. But you kind of have to do that planning ahead kind of thing with type 1 diabetes in college. It's a lot more thought process than all my other classmates have to go through. I literally have to analyze every piece of food I put in my mouth and know what it does to me to keep everything as good as possible. Number 4, and I'm going to sit and talk about just in general, and a little bit about what happened to me today, is don't freak out about things, especially when your blood sugar is higher than the sky. I had this issue in dental health safety. When we got our clinical exams, my blood sugars were probably 240, I would say, for most of them. And that was before I really figured out like the whole food situation and just how to calm myself down as best as possible before different exams. But I just kind of dealt with it and just said it's temporary, and if you can get past the evaluations, like that's another step that you can check right off your list and keep moving forward and keep pushing forward, and eventually you won't have to be worrying about evaluations. In the next year and a half, you will be a registered dental hygienist and won't have to worry about that kind of stuff. But anyways, don't stress about the high blood sugars, and like talk about it if you feel like you need to take a break. I know my instructors are very good about giving us breaks, and they know my situation, and they're very accommodating to it, and I literally thought I bombed both of my skill evaluations today because I literally had so much adrenaline pouring through me, and my blood sugar was extremely high. My face and my neck and everything was completely red. I mean, I looked like Rudolph, but all over my face and all over my neck. It was just horrifying. But I did fine, and I thought I was shaking while I was manipulating our instrument that we were working with, our Explorer instrument. Maybe I'll talk about what the heck these instrument names are later on. But when we were doing this exploring, I'm sitting there going, oh my god, I bombed everything, I'm shaking like a leaf, and I'm messing everything up, and I screwed everything over, and you're doing horribly. And I didn't shake at all, apparently. I thought I was. But I apparently was able to control that, and that's something you have to kind of learn to do, and I'm definitely learned to control control that a little bit, just because if you are shaking when you're in a skill eval, either on a mannequin or a real person, that's really not ideal, because we're putting sharp instruments into people's mouths, and if you can't hold your hand steady, that's kind of an issue. But I was able to keep my hand steady throughout the whole entire thing, and even though I literally thought I was, like, my whole entire body was just shaking from just anxiety, I did really, really good with that. And I have issues with self-criticism. I do, and I know I do. I'm very hard on myself. Probably because, number one, I live with type 1 diabetes, in which you have to criticize and analyze everything you do. And number two, I always have been self-critical of myself, and I start thinking that I'm incompetent to do things, even though I know how to do things and I'm capable of doing things and I do things pretty well. And I learn fairly quickly. I start thinking I'm some incompetent person, and I know I'm not. And I start thinking that I'm doing horrible, and I start thinking that I'm just bombing and failing every single thing, and I'm not. I'm just worked up about minor crap I probably shouldn't be. So I'm learning not to sweat the whole blood sugar thing and deal with it later. I'm not saying that a 240 was ideal for my skill eval today, but I was pushing insulin. I was drinking water. I did get up a few times. In between we had more of like an open lab day where we practiced probing and a bunch of other things. But anyways, I would get up and walk around. I had to like breathe and just get it down as fast as possible. Now, unfortunately, with high blood sugars, they don't come down like that. But knowing that I was doing everything in my power to bring that blood sugar down makes me feel good that I was doing my best in that moment. And I give myself a big pat on the back, because being a full-time pancreas in dental hygiene school doesn't seem to mix very well, but I am doing my absolute best. And I know my A1C is going to be higher. I'm thinking it's going to be like 6.2, 6.3. But as long as I can keep it under 7 for the remaining of school, I'm not really going to panic about it. It is such a short time in my life that I'm not going to worry about the whole being got to be perfect between 70 and 150 all the time, or 70 and 140, or the 70 and 180 even. If I'm spiking and coming down, or I'm spiking and I'm fixing it to the best of my ability and doing everything that I need to do to get my blood sugar down, I'm going to do what I need to do. And I'm so thankful to have pretty fantastic instructors. I mean, I literally have nothing horrible to say about any of my instructors, even the ones that are adjuncts that come in and assist the full-time instructors to keep the amount of instructors to student ratio adequate for the program. They're amazing, and they've been very understanding, and they get things, and I think they can tell who the good students are, and I think they can tell who cares, and I think they can tell how you are as a person, and knowing that I'm not screwing around with different things, and that, you know, I live with a condition I can't control, and I wish I didn't have it, but what are you going to do? Life is life. So I've learned to just deal with it and keep going. And I'm definitely one of those that tries, even though I know what I'm feeling, I do a pretty good job at concealing the whole diabetes sickness thing, or feeling sick from a high or a low. Now you probably could tell on my face, anybody, I even know a couple of my classmates like, you're really red. I said, yeah, I know, my blood sugar is high. But they're like, can you feel it? I said, yes, I can feel it. But a lot of people, if they don't know I'm diabetic, or didn't know, or don't really know or understand the whole entire how diabetes, high blood sugar thing works, they might not know that I'm actually feeling like absolute garbage, but I am doing everything I can to keep going. And I have learned to push past the garbage feelings and keep going forward. Because things got to get done, and you just got to live your life. I've literally, during low blood sugars, go, oh crap, I have a low blood sugar. I haven't had a low in a while, but no matter where I am, I'm just like, oh, low blood sugar. I'll just like pop some juice or candy and carry on with my life like nothing happened. Of course, I'm checking, 15 minutes later to make sure it's on the rise or heading back up. But I definitely just keep going and don't let a single AutoWhack blood sugar stop me from carrying on with myself. For my midterm for anatomy, my blood sugar was actually normal. Fairly normal. I think it was like 150, no, it was like 120 to 130, I think. But I definitely would suggest to you guys, and that's what I'm going to lead into the next thing, is anytime you have to go into a certain lockdown testing or any type of like scale eval or lab classes, you're better off high than you are to be low. That's because typically a lot of lab classes you're not allowed to have food or drink. I do carry a little thing with me in a bag, but I've never had to pull it out yet. And if I had to treat a low blood sugar, I would just excuse myself out of my operatory and go do so outside, because obviously we don't want food or drink in a sterile dental environment. If that makes sense, and it just works out pretty good. As far as insulin dosing, I just take my pump out, whip it out, push what I need, and it's good to go. I don't get questioned by any of my instructors or my classmates now that they know what this device is. It's not a cell phone, and I'm surely not messing with it just to mess with it. I'm messing it to keep myself alive and keep my organs healthy and keep my body healthy. Because obviously, like with diabetes, like if you're out of a whack blood sugar, you're not going to feel good. And you need to try to fix that, and that can impact things. I'm very lucky that for whatever reason, when I have AutoWhack blood sugars, it really doesn't affect It doesn't really affect like what I'm doing in the moment as far as testing and stuff, which thank God it didn't, because I would have been screwed today and screwed on my midterm. But some people have that more of effect where they get that brain fog and stuff. And for whatever reason, I may feel tired, but I just push forward. I keep going. I'm like, go, go, go. I'm like an Energizer buddy. Just keep pounding forward because you got things to do. And that's what I just tell myself. And it's difficult, but you can do it. And I encourage any of you that are going for like a medical field or dental field or any type of lab-based type career that you can do it with type 1 diabetes. You just got to kind of learn to manipulate with things a little bit, especially when you're learning. And know that when you are in college, don't freak out if your A1Cs go up a little bit or you have more higher blood sugars than you would like. Just because you're going to be stressed, you're going to have tests, you're going to have assignments, you're going to have projects, you're going to have evaluations, you're going to have everything literally thrown on you. Like, dental hygiene school is super hard and intense. And I'll talk about this semester by semester, what we each learn in each semester and the intensity and how we get tested and all these different things. But it is intense. And we're week 7. We've been in each other's mouths with instruments several times already. Once in our clinic class and like 2 or 3 times in anatomy class looking at different landmarks. So that just goes to show you how quickly they put us in someone else's mouth and learning these things, and not just on a mannequin. But it's just kind of crazy how you do all these different things and how far you can progress yourself. But anyways, that's that. And I'll go into my next thing, which is get your accommodations. This is something you definitely want to set up prior to that, and I definitely did a video on that. I'm not sure when or what it was titled, but I'll try to remember to leave it linked down below. I think I talked about type 1 diabetes and school accommodations. I don't care what grade level you're in. I don't care where you go to college, where you go to high school, where you go to middle school, where you go to primary or elementary school. Get accommodations for yourself. Or if you are a minor, have your parents get accommodation for you. It's a nice backup plan to know that, like, hey, if my blood sugar is really high, like dangerously, like say 450, and I have an exam, well, I'm probably going to be almost in the hospital at that point from ketoacidosis, because I know that sets in much quicker for me than it does for a lot of other people, that I have the opportunity to take that test in a different environment, or if for whatever reason I need to go up and take breaks or something like that, or for me, like in lab classes, I can have this medical alert on, whereas like we can't have jewelry. This is an acceptable thing. Have those accommodations, have those things. And if people ask about type 1 diabetes, do talk about it, because the more people that know about it, the better off you are. If something happens in an emergency, they're going to treat you way differently than somebody without diabetes. If you're passed out or you're not feeling good or something like that, and lean on your friends, find friends that care about you. I know I had a classmate of mine that was really, really worried about me today, like freaking out over like, oh my God, are you okay? 238. Oh my gosh, that's extremely high. I'm like, I know. It's okay. It's going to come down. Insulin doesn't work like magic. It takes time. But it's nice to know I have a lot of classmates and instructors that are ultra concerned. So much so that one of my instructors today, that happened to be the one who evaluated me, is like, what's your blood sugar? I said, it's 210. She goes, oh, that's high. I said, yeah, I'm going to take a walk now. So then I took a walk and like got some water and stuff, and they gave us a longer break today and stuff. But anyways, you just kind of got to work with it and be open about it. And if your instructors or your friends care about you, take advantage of it, because it makes you feel good knowing that they actually give a crap, or want to care for you, or want to, make your experience as best as possible. And they start to understand what you really go through and stuff. And I know a couple of my close friends and stuff are really starting to see the amount of work I put in to keep myself alive, and that it's not just as simple as checking your blood sugar and taking insulin. And like one of my classmates, like knowing that I didn't eat, why did my blood sugar go up? Like she's trying to figure this out. I said, just so you know, I said, stress and anxiety will raise blood sugar. And type 1 diabetics, like myself, do not produce insulin. So therefore, the liver will start pumping out insulin from adrenaline and everything else, and you're basically screwed. It's not like I have type 2 diabetes where I still produce insulin. Body's just resistant to it. So any type of stress, anxiety, out of the whack environmental trigger can really throw my blood sugars out of whack. But sickness too. I mean, make sure with sickness in college, get your flu shots, stay up to date with your doctors and stuff, because you don't want to get sick. one of your classmates is sick, like, don't be mean, but just, like, keep your distance a little bit, because as type 1 diabetics, when we get sick, it is not ideal. I've been through 2 sicknesses already with type 1 diabetes. I went through influenza A and I went through E. coli. And those things are horrifying to go through. It's an absolute nightmare to try to figure out how to get your blood sugars in whack and get everything figured out that way. So get your accommodations, be open about it, and I would say I've had a really positive experience with my instructors and my classmates. And I'm literally blown away by the amount of support they've given me. I'm blown away, and I wish every single one of you will be able to get the same. And I know some of you do not get that, and I am so sorry for you. And you just need to keep pushing and fighting, because somebody will listen. If you keep on it, somebody will eventually listen to you and understand the amount of rigor and hard work it is to be a type 1 diabetic, and that you're still worthy to do things. And like I said, I am still struggling with the self-worth thing. If you've seen my whole video about like that toxic negativity crap I've been dealing with, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I've been dealing with a lot of self-worth images, which is also not good to be self-critical on top of that. And you think that no one likes you. You think that you're horrible and all these different things, and you're not. You are a person. You are capable of being loved. You are capable of loving other people, and you are capable of doing things. And you are worthy to be in certain things, and you are worthy of certain privileges and rights. You just need to tell yourself that, and keep working for what you want to do in life, because if you don't, I mean, you're going to have regrets. And as hard as Dental Hygiene School is, I am doing amazing. I mean, my God, I am literally a full-time student and a full-time pancreas. I don't know how I'm doing it, but by the grace of God, I am doing it. And that, like I said, that is the main thing that gets me through every single day, is just God being on my side. I can't imagine not believing in another human being. And I'm getting torn up and emotional over this, just because it's just like, I am literally so proud of myself to be this strong and dealing with a hard-ass program and doing things and doing the things that I need to do and earning good grades and earning decent grades and keeping A's and B's as far as my grades and stuff. And I'm proud of myself, and I need to be proud of myself, and I need to give myself more pats on the back. I don't give myself enough of that and stuff like that, but you need to learn to just trust yourself and keep going forward with what you need to do. My last thing I'm going to say is a CGM and an insulin pump are going to be your best friends in college. Number one, especially the CGM. If you can't, if you have to choose between a pump and a CGM as far as financial wise or insurance wise, or if you aren't comfortable with a medical device, I suggest trying at least some sort of a continuous glucose monitor to know what your blood sugars are at all times. Literally, I would give up my pump any day and go back to shots. I will never, ever give up my Dexcom. I will never, ever give it up, because I'm able to see my blood sugars from my phone at my fingertips and know exactly what they are and what direction they're heading, so that I can make good decisions for myself, and that I can fix high blood sugars before they get dangerously high, or I can fix lows before they become dangerously low, or prevent a low, prevent a high, prevent whatever. Be bold with insulin, which is huge. But anyways, my continuous glucose monitor has helped me so much. And again, that comes with the accommodations thing that, like, my teachers know if I'm on my watch doing this, that I'm not doing it to check out something random, you know what I'm saying? Like, checking on a random, like, web page or texting somebody. I'm checking my blood sugar. So most of them know about that, which is pretty nice. And if I'm looking at my phone, I'm probably, especially like in clinic and stuff, like they don't want our phones out, but they know, like, if I have my phone out, that I'm looking at my blood sugar. I'm not looking on the internet and stuff like that. So just, like I said, keep the awareness, use your technology to your advantage, use your insulin pump to your advantage, which has been super helpful for me to just be like, try to, I don't want to say ignore diabetes. I definitely say I'm not as tight managed when I'm at school. I do my darndest, and most days I do pretty good. And most days I don't go above 180 when I'm at school. But don't freak out when you do have days where it's like 260, 260. Don't freak out. And it's nice to just have something convenient to just push a button and give myself insulin for. And I always keep spare diabetes supplies with me. My pump fails, whatever the case may be. Knock on my head here that my pump has not failed on me yet in school. It can, and I am kind of waiting for that day to happen someday here. One has failed on me at home, but it'll be pretty evident. And I remember my pump beeped one time in clinic, and I literally apologized for it. My instructor said, just don't worry about it. It's okay. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, it just, for me, it's more of an embarrassment thing because it's such a different thing compared to what other people have. And, you know, having to have these medical devices that could fail on me at any time is kind of freaky. But they do my best to keep myself going here through college. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful, gave you an idea of how I'm doing with college and blood sugar wise. And just know that I would say any person in college or who has been through college with type 1 diabetes will tell you the same thing, that don't freak out about those more often high blood sugars. Don't freak out about certain things because it's just going to make things worse as far as management's concerned. And use your technology to your advantage and get your accommodations and your low carb foods and exercise and getting enough sleep and trying to breathe through exams will be your best options here. So I hope these tips helped you. I hope you got a pretty good experience of what I've been dealing with as far as evaluations have gone, and how I've been dealing with some very interesting blood sugars through college. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. Feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. I post videos every single week about diabetes plus more. Stay tuned. I have 2 more videos coming out for you this week. I'm not sure what they're going to be yet, but we're going to figure that out. I am doing my best to do a lot of pre-filming, so I have no clue when this video will go up. Today is October 11th, I think. I'm thinking this video will go up a couple days after it's filmed, so when it does go up, I hope you are all doing well. I hope you are enjoying fall. It is starting to get cold up here in Wisconsin now. I now have to wear long sleeves and stuff like that. So stay warm or stay cool if you're in a hot environment. I hope your life is going well for you, and I hope you're having reasonable blood sugars. So until tomorrow for another video, take care, God bless, be kind, spread positivity, and be thankful. Bye, everyone.